Welcome to another episode of Q&A with Shay. Today, we got the one and only, the IE's finest, San Bernardino's finest, Pasadena's finest, LA's finest, the one and only Hit Boy. It's going to be a great episode. Tune in on the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcast for Q&A with Shay. What up, what up? Another episode of Q&A with Shay. Here I got the one and only, the young legend, because he's still young, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he still can get that moniker, the young legend, the Hit Boy himself.
Yo, what's good?
Good?
Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate you coming, you know what I mean? I know you was in late, so I definitely appreciate you.
That's an everyday thing at this point, you know?
That's good, man. You're still on that grind. It's a testament to your success, you know, the work ethic.
Nah, straight up.
But let's go back a little bit. You know, like I told you, Q&A, Shay, is kind of like, you know, to bless the youth. And youth, I don't just mean young people. I meant anybody with a youthful state of mind who still, I equate youth with still learning, still a hunger to learn.
Yeah, straight up.
You know what I mean? So let's start with, where you from? For those that don't know.
I'm from between Pasadena and the IE, so I stayed in Pasadena until I was like 13, and then I moved to the IE, which was good for me because I got to be out the way, and then I ended up meeting this kid who, he had FL, he had Acid Pro, and he was making albums and beats like straight out his mom crib, so that was like a real important, point in my life.
Okay. Well, how old were you when that happened?
So I was, when I like I said, I moved to the IE. I moved to San Bernardino first when I was 13.
Okay.
And I was pissed off about it because we was so far from everybody I knew and all that
friends,
shit.
Yeah.
So like a couple years into that, I was like 15. I met this kid and he was literally making albums already, and I was like, my mind was blown over that because my first songs I recorded on a little sound recorder mic like this big and shit, and I would have to like do the hook, do the verse, do the hook again, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so this is when I was like 14, 15, but when I met him, shit just like, you know, put it into perspective, like, oh damn, I could really like make projects, make music, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I mean, that's an early start too, just the fact that you was already, 14, 15 getting into the music.
And that come from my uncle. He was in a group called Troop back in the day.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my grandma started the group, and he just used to always just give me game, and I saw it just by being around. Like, me and my mom used to live with my uncle,
Okay.
and that was at the height of their success, and I just used to see the lifestyle, and I was just super intrigued by it, wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was gonna do it, and when I was 13, I just started writing lyrics. I didn't know how I was gonna do this shit. And
Yeah, that's dope. So musical family, you know what I mean?
I mean, sort of. Yeah.
Okay. Did your mom big, like, play a lot of music in the house?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of R&B. Like, I was hearing Mary J. Blige, like all the breakup songs and heartbreak songs back in the day. So I guess that's where kind of my soul come from. Like, my grandma playing like Etta James, Aretha Franklin, and all that type of shit. Then my uncle, like, you know, he did R&B, but he would play like the NWA album, like that second album specifically. Like, that shit was gutted, that shit was gangster, and like the break beats and the sounds, that shit used to just have my imagination sparking.
Yeah, because that's when Dre told me some stories behind that. Because when I was with Dre, he told me originally when he started NWA and was doing it, he was influenced real heavily by Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But then as they went from first album to second album, that's when he was like, realized he had to develop his own thing, and that's that number 2 album. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, okay, you decide this is what you want to do. What do you feel like is your first intro into going from amateur producer, musician, artist into professional?
My first real step in that was when I started a MySpace. And a lot of people don't know Hit Boy used to be Hit Boys. It was 2 of us.
Okay.
And we started a MySpace page, and we ended up going our separate ways. And I made the name up, so I kept the name. I just took the S off and just started going by Hit Boy on MySpace. And people was hitting me up like, yo, Hit Boy, referencing me as Hit Boy. So I'm like, I'm about to just go buy this shit.
Yeah.
And this was when I was like 18. And about a year into being on MySpace and just changing my tracks out, always putting up new beats, doing remixes to R&B songs at the time, and just flipping stuff. I started getting, people hitting me up, wanting to get beats, and then I ended up getting a publishing deal, linking with Polo the Don, who hit me on MySpace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So social media was really your first avenue.
No,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, you came.
I was one of the first guys that was definitely like heavy on the socials and actually making real legit plays happen off of it.
Yeah. And Polo was early too, as far as one of the people who was really looking, who was active looking. You know what I mean? You know, him and Rodney were early, like looking. Okay, so now you get into a situation with Polo. We all know how Polo does business and this and that. When do you feel like, and we don't got to go into details of that situation, but when did you feel like, okay, this situation, I got to grow from this situation?
I mean, I'm still trying to grow from this situation.
Okay,
you know
yeah.
But at the same time, like, you know, being he flew me to Atlanta, and he had a studio. Me and my boy Chasing Cash, like we had a room out of the studio that, you know, he had an Interscope deal. Jimmy Iovine had got this whole compound, and we was like working. He flew us out. We got a crib, and we was just going in every day. And a couple years into that, I'm like, man, I got to get back to Cali and just really refocus my energy.
Okay. Now, did you feel like that situation, being in almost like kind of that boot camp situation, was good for the development?
That was my college years. You know what I'm saying? I didn't actually go to college, but I paid a lot of money to go to college. You know what I'm saying? If you get what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? I put a lot of time and effort into
and you literally paid a lot of money to go to college.
No, literally. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what I mean? Okay, so you get back to Cali. When's the first breakthrough?
Man, I was doing stuff. I was getting placements, doing, you know, different work. But really that level was when I linked with Ricky, Kanye cousin, through my boy Dollar.
Yeah.
And Dollar,
shout out to Ricky, shout out to Dollar.
Dollar, he knew my boy's Audio Push. And he, you know, he was like a backup dancer for them. And he was like, man, Ricky, my cousin, and he Kanye cousin and shit. So he wants you to send some beats. He was working on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Okay. And I'm thinking it was just like, oh, this shit ain't realistic. Yeah. But I just kept sending beats. And Ricky would hit me like, yo, Kanye like these joints, but they just don't fit on this particular project. So I'm just still thinking it's bullshit. Yeah. And then Kanye hit me. Ricky hit me out the blue and was like, Kanye used one of your beats, and it's a Christmas song, and it was the Christmas in Harlem joint. Okay. And that was our first, you know, connection, and then that just like opened my eyes wide to like, you know, that's that next level of like, you know, music of the stuff I've been studying, the level I've been trying to get to. So after the Christmas in Harlem thing, that's when this was like end of 2010, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And so it was going into 2011. Ricky was hitting me like, yeah, Kanye want to actually link with you and work on music. So that's when I flew out to Abu Dhabi. First time out the country. I was dolo. I had a computer screen. I had a desktop. I had a Digio 3. I had a big-ass Phantom, and I flew with all of this shit dolo. Like, I had, like, 3 suitcases just full of shit. And carrying my keyboard. Like, I don't know how I even did this shit.
Yeah,
but
into a Muslim country. So,
when I landed, like, my computer was all busted up, like, from just the traveling and them throwing it around. I didn't even know if it was going to work. And then, you know, when we got to the Emirates Palace, you know, they just started playing my joints and just going in on ideas. And that's when I was like, oh, this is official.
So that shit went, you know, you go from never leaving the country to Abu Dhabi with Kanye. That has some surreal shit.
And then the cold part is we were supposed to be there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks or something. As soon as I get there, like we had went to dinner, I remember, then we went back to the stew. And then like a couple hours into it, his assistant at the time was like, he not feeling the vibe here, so we going back to the States. And this is like, I had just flew like 18 hours and just like went through all this bullshit. So just to get back on the plane, we went to New York. That's when I met Hov. That's when we was really going in on the Watch the Throne shit. So,
okay. Yeah. So fast forward, I'm in Paris. I was a witness to this, you know, played it, I don't know, 15 times in a row.
Right.
What's that feel like? Just seeing the crowd and the energy and just to your joint.
Yeah, that,
you know what I mean?
That definitely like just opened the floodgates to my imagination of like what's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, I mean, I still don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? Like even with a song as ill as Sicko Mode, I'm thinking for sure when I go to Travis' show, he gonna do it at least twice. He only did it once, and it's like that's not an easy thing to do, to have a song that you could just do back to back to back, and nobody cares, nobody gets tired. That it's the same energy as when you first played it. That's crazy. That's unrealistic. That's crazy.
But I think you got a couple of them joints to where, to me, like just to be a witness of that energy in the building. You know what I mean? backseat freestyle,
Yeah.
sicko mode. You know what I mean? To be a part of them joints. Them joints are special when you just see what they do to people.
Yeah, nah, it's crazy because if you think about it, like it really got into perspective with me when I went to the On the Run tour, the On the Run tour 2.
Yeah.
I'm just peeping the show. I'm hearing like Flawless. Then I hear Bow Down. Then I hear Sorry. Then I hear Feeling Myself. And then I hear Click. Then I hear Niggas in Paris. I'm like, I got 6 songs in the On the Run show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's not realistic, bro. Nobody else is doing that. You know what I'm saying? And that's
not
like
realistic.
You know, so it's like, I don't know. It's something about the energy, I guess, that I bring to the music I provide. It makes people, like, all 6 of them songs I just named off in a set, those are like super fucking highlights. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And people don't even realize or put that together. Like, damn, that's Hit Boy creating these musical beds, but the facts is facts.
Ain't nobody fucking with my click.
Nah, straight up.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, the joint was so crazy that when Hov got on it, Hov was like, because Ye wasn't even on that record at first. Hov was like, Ye gotta be on it.
Straight
that's
up.
how, like, you know what I mean? That's how urgent he felt about the record. He was like, yeah, I love it. I'll be on it. But Ye gotta be on it. You know
I was in the Hamptons working with Beyonce on her album when Kanye came through and played the final version, and that shit just blew my mind.
Oh, it was crazy. We came in, we played, he came in, he just looked at the you know, the whole shit, looked at the speakers. He was like, oh, made that face and just went in, you know what I mean? But his first thing was like, yeah, you gotta be on it though. You know what I mean? It was like, we're gonna make this shit a moment, you know what I mean? Because this shit hard. So fast forward, one of the things I want to say, like, I think you have I meet a lot of the young producers, up and coming ones who have a lot of success right now. And I'm not gonna call anybody out, but I don't feel like they're making those difference makers. They're getting placements and they're getting so-called hits, if you will, but not the difference makers. The same thing I'm talking about, like when I see it perform live, where it's got that effect, you know, like a backseat freestyle. What do you feel like is your approach when you go in the studio in terms of just, we sit down and make a beat? Do you have an artist in mind usually, or you just?
Not for the most part. Like, I just try to create it to the highest level, which is it's a gift and a curse because a lot of people's ears are not open. Like, they only hear what's out there and they like, damn, if it's not matching up with, you know, the tempo or the sounds that whoever is using that has a song on the radio right now, that it's not hot. But when I do connect with that, you know, higher level artists and those artists that really understand sonics, that's when my music is really, you know, even like look at Carousel with Frank Ocean and Travis. You know what I'm saying? That's the same effect as a backseat freestyle or Niggas in Paris. Like, the crowd is going crazy to that shit. So, you know, I don't know what it is, but I just try to make something that I personally would be proud to play. Yeah.
And then how do you avoid, like, when you know, okay, this is the stuff going on the radio and this is what's popular, how do you avoid just falling into that?
I've always been just an open, creative person. You know, the people I came up around, like my homies from Surf Club, Chasing Cash, Chili Chill, BC, G-Ride, who I still work with all the time now. We just always had like a thinking outside the box type of mentality.
Yeah, you think the IE had some influence with that?
Nah, for sure.
Okay, I definitely feel like there's a few people, and you're one of the producers where I feel like you're in that sweet spot. Meaning, what I mean by that is, there's a few of you guys that grew up and still influenced by the earlier era, but also part of this new generation.
Man,
too.
That's so crazy because I be telling people, like, I'll work with an artist and, you know, sometimes it'll be an older artist and I'll just have to explain, like, you know, coming up, I came from the era of being in the studio. We book a studio and we working on the same song for 8 or 9 hours trying to perfect it, trying to make the shit ill as possible. To turn working with Juice WRLD, working with Polo G, working with Roddy Ricch, they knocking out songs in 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. I had to have a lot more beats than I used to. I can't take hours to just work on one beat idea no more. Like, I have to work on a few beat ideas in a couple hours. So when artists come through, no matter who it is, I'm gonna just have that batch ready.
And you're ready and you prepared. Yeah, I think that's the agility of 2020. You know, I think you're one of the producers that can still be influenced by the earlier stuff and have that in your DNA. But you know, you part of this modern.
That's just all. That's in my heart. That's in my, like you said, it's in my DNA. But mentally, I have to be in the now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't have the same, you know, thought process I did 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Like,
and I think that's a valuable lesson for any young producers listening, but it's also a valuable lesson for any old producers that are listening. Because I feel like guys that came up when I came up, they get stuck in a, and they get frustrated with the process and this and that. Not even
and
that
then
they
shit start to sound whack to you and all that shit.
Yeah.
But you have to just always have that open mind. Like there's a reason why people are responding to certain music. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's always new sounds coming out. Like with the Pop Smoke and just like that whole UK drill vibe. Like a lot of people like, man, I don't know how I feel about it, but that's the energy the kids is on. That's what's going on. That's what's cracking. So you have to, even if you don't fully like the shit, take something from it. The energy of it, the sounds they using, something is in there that's making people fuck with the shit.
Yeah, and you got to make it your own. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's like, okay, you don't like what's going on there. All right, cool. Find some shit that you do that can work. You know what I mean? Other than that, you're just gonna be obsolete.
You can't call it, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can't call it. So fast forward into I actually want to deviate a little bit. You've always had in your heart, and we talked about this way back when you first started out. You've always basically really been an artist.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, like I said, like from 13, I started writing. Yeah. And I was like 3 years before I even started messing with the beats. But I'm glad that I took the sonic serious. I'm glad that I took, digging into the music side because that helped me sustain, you know what I'm saying? Like if I would have just been just rapping the whole time, like I don't even think I don't know where I would be, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? I'm not saying that I wouldn't be here, but, just focusing on the sonics, I've been able to meet so many incredible artists and just get that natural growth.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. How do you feel like, and obviously this thing, this project you just put out, Chauncey Hollis project, shout out to that. This is a joint on there that I love.
Mood Change.
Love that joint. Shout out to my man, Thirst.
Yeah. And Jansport J, my boy Jansport, he produced it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love that joint.
That's what's up.
Transitioning, since you really established yourself as a producer, I had the same question with FK first, because First is also, he was an artist really at the same as well as a producer just like yourself, and he's been trying to transition into artist mode. Yeah. How do you find the transition? Is it something you find difficult?
At first I did, just because I didn't understand, how the game worked and just the way you go about it properly. Like I just was kind of, bumping my head and trying to figure it out, putting out songs. I had 2 label deals, one with Jimmy Iovine, like on the tail end before he went to Apple, when he was on Interscope. I had another label deal, an artist deal with Hove, and that was my, again, college years. Like I got big budgets to pay for myself to go to college and just learn, you know what I'm saying? Like really understand this shit. So that's why I guess I'm poised at this point because all the shit that I just went through. So as far as my stuff, I'm letting it just come to me. Like I'm creating for all types of different artists, but my music I'm letting come to me. And with this specific project, this shit obviously it's named after me and my pops, you know what I'm saying? And the reaction.
Shout out to Big Hit.
Yeah, Big Hit, free Big Hit, man.
That's the homie.
Like I just see like the reaction is different than it was before, you know what I'm saying? Like people that I really respect, whether it's A&Rs, whether it's people that work at Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, are just reaching out to me like, yo, I love this body of work that you put out. So that's the payoff for me, you know what I'm saying? And that's the genuine like growth in the situation.
Okay. And I like the way it seems like you're doing it really organic. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, I like that it just was like, all right, just drop this project, which let you actually commented on it, working with a wide range of artists.
My stomach going crazy.
Yeah, my stomach. Yeah, is that me? I'm hungry.
Oh, I gotta get some food.
Yeah, I think that's both of us. But going back to and I think this is another thing, just talking to the young producers out there and the up and coming producers, you work with so many different artists. Yeah. Is that intentional? Like in terms of
no, for sure, because that's what I always developed like over the years, is just being versatile. Yeah. Like being able to get in the room with a Justin Bieber or fucking whoever,
Grizzly,
you know what I'm saying? T Grizzly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Benny the Butcher, like being able to capture something that makes them feel at home, but also is an extension of just what I do.
Yeah. Is it, are you networking organically, or is this actually like a strategy in your business plan? Like with your
honestly,
management?
It's kind of both, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Like when I'm sitting down to create, like I know that I'm, trying to, reach that highest level of sonic, you know what I'm saying? So when the artist does come through, I'm already set, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to, I'm like, I'm going through 1, 2, maybe 3 beats for the most part these days, and it's like load that up. You know what I'm saying? And versus before, like I wasn't able to tap in. To me personally, I feel like in the last like 3-4 years, like I just start tapping in on like making a tight beat damn near every time I sit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, but before that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, now you feel like you're at that matrix level where it's like, you know, I mean, you know what you want to accomplish. Yeah, I think it's funny because I had success prior to Dre in my career, but Dre was like such a perfectionist level thing that I don't feel like I really, you know, what I thought I had reached that level. I didn't realize, I didn't reach that level yet until I got to Dre.
Same when we first got back to New York and me and Kanye sat down to make a beat, and I didn't understand, like, you know, the world of I'm gonna give you these files and this acapella, and I want you to just transform it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nigga, I got these beats. I got hundreds of beats right here. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So I had to really evolve and understand, like, oh, this is a different way of working. Like, these niggas have a, you know, just a different level of understanding of how to bring out what they trying to get across.
Yeah. How do you, what would you tell your 20-year-old self now from what you know now? If you knowing what you know now, and you could talk to your 20-year-old self to help maybe skip some steps, or
don't be so anxious, man. Just really just keep locking in. You know what I'm saying? Lock in even more. Like, you know, as much shit as I've done, like I be looking back, like I could have done even more if I would have just been focused on the right shit. But you also have to grow as a human being and shit. So, you know, I sometimes I do look back and I'm like, man, I wish I would have even focused more and not wasted my time on some of the shit I wasted my time on.
Yeah. Are you investing your money? Are you an investor?
I'm my biggest investment, man. Okay. Like I pay for my studio time. Like I be paying for other artists to make their albums. That's my investment. You know what I'm saying? And it come back. Like a lot of artists pull up. Like I'm doing it off GP. You know what I'm saying? Especially artists that I respect. Like you know, that's my investment. I'm my biggest investment right now.
Nice. That's smart, because that's gonna come back
for sure
multiple times.
I'm seeing it.
Okay. All right. So what keeps you? I think because I've seen this in the past. I've seen people get to a certain level of success. I don't want to say they get gassed, but they get comfortable.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've always seen about you has been the work ethic. Like, you know what I'm saying? You might be coming off one of the biggest hits you ever had, and you right back on the grind.
Shit, I won a Grammy a couple Sundays ago, and a couple hours later, I was right back. Appreciate it. I was right back in the studio. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me, man. Like you
think it's from just the upbringing, or just the family, or just what?
It's just a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And also just my circumstances now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I still go through real shit. My pops is locked up. Yeah. Like I didn't pay for 5 different lawyers trying to, you know, help in that situation. And just dealing with a lot of the shit I got to deal with. Like, you know, I have a different type of hunger.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that impresses me about you, is that you haven't got comfortable. You know what I mean? Where I see other people, okay, it's like,
I feel like sometimes I look back and I'm like, I was damn near there after the Kanye shit, you know, feeling like I was just set. You know, even if it was just for like a year or a few months, like I did have a period where I felt like, nigga, I'm just on top. And you can't ever do that, because there's always somebody else working. It's always a new wave getting ready to hit you upside the head out of nowhere. Yeah. So
there's always some 16-year-old kid right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, even that, like,
who got you a bullseye, you know, or whatever.
When I was 16, bro, we had the basic FL 3.5. You couldn't drag samples like that. Like it was just very amateur, versus like now it's 16-year-olds making legit hits. They going on Splice, they going on wherever, getting sounds, and they legit making songs that's hitting the radio or whatever the hell. So it's like
anything is possible now, right? What's next for Hit Boy? What do you like? You know, like you have all this success. You got this great work ethic, which to me is a tremendous testament to it. But what's next? Like, how do you stay hungry? What's the next goal?
Just projects, executive producing more so. Like, you know, a lot of my career was getting 1 or 2 songs off on a project, and you know that was a blessing. But at the same time, like I'm trying to do full projects, and I'm trying to really bring people into the scope in the world of like, oh, like this shit is different. Like, you know, because you could hear a Trophies, you could hear a backseat freestyle, you could hear niggas in Paris and be like, oh, this guy just makes simple beats. but then you don't go and listen to the Joey Badass shit I did, or listen to the Game shit I did, or listen to the gutter grimy shit I did for T Grizzly. Like, it's just just really trying to bring people into that world of understanding like how many sounds I can really captivate and make people feel at home on.
Yeah, I love that idea, just the whole project. You know what I mean? I think I came from that era with the people I respected. My first foray into it was that, doing a whole album, and that changed my life. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, spending a year and a half making an album, that's great. Not to say that we spent a year and a half anymore, but at that time it was like same thing. I had only done beats, or placement. Oh, I had one placement here and this and that. So that's definitely, I like that sentiment, because especially now, I think it's important where music is immediate gratification. You know what I'm saying? So bringing back just up in the bar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Any label plans? You gonna?
Man, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Like, I got, certain people reaching out, and I'm having little conversations here and there, but I'm not in no rush to, to for nothing. I'm just doing me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit is just coming to me, man, and it's like just the energy I feel like I've been putting in, like, investing in myself and investing in, like, like with Racks in the Middle, like, Nipsey, I never charged him for the beat. I never charged him for no studio time. We worked in my studio for like a week and a half finishing the song. Never talked about none of that, you know what I'm saying? But that was my investment into me and to Nip, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, it worked out on the highest, level it could work out.
Definitely. How'd you and Nip meet?
We met like a long time ago at a studio somewhere in Hollywood. Just me running around with different people. It might have been at Ty Dolla $ign used to have a spot off like Hollywood Boulevard or something around there. I think it was up there or something like that. But we always worked. Like, I had a record that I placed on him with my homie Chasing Cash, and it was Nipsey and Boozy. This song called Thuggin'. This was like, had to be 09, 2010, which is way back. Maybe even 08 type shit. On the Bullets Ain't Got No Name Volume 2. Then I worked on Mailbox Money, and he featured on a song of mine back in the day. And I did during the whole victory lap, process, I wasn't involved at all. We wasn't even talking then. And just beginning of 2019, my team hit me like, Nip, trying to get in with you. And it was just like, from the day we linked, it was just the energy was on 100, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He had a different energy. He finished Victory Lap at the studio we had, the No Name spot we had. So, and he had booked it out for 24 hours. So I hadn't met him before that. And then we met, we might have met like 2 in the morning. And he came into my studio, and my studio used to be crazy, all the instruments and all the books. And he started grabbing the books and was like, oh shit. Like, he's like, I didn't know you was on this type of wave. He's like, this is my wave. And so we got to build. He was just a different dude. I think in my journey across this, even the guests that I'm even trying to have on the show, like people I've come across on my travels that to me think a little bit differently, move a little bit differently, so on and so forth. And he did you feel that from him? Because that's one of the things.
Sure, like it was like when we first sat down to do those sessions, like he recorded the first verse on Racks in the Middle. Me and Roddy already had like the song, like there was a hook and a verse from Roddy on it. I was just playing it for Nip just to like see if he would do a verse on it, and it was gonna be me featuring them two. The second time he heard it before he even put vocals on it, like he asked me for the song, and I didn't hesitate. I just like, yeah, that's you, whatever. And he did one verse the first day. Then we started working on other ideas. He recorded some other shit. He's sitting down like as we're creating the song, and it had like a beautiful melody to it. We watching like Victoria's Secret fucking runway shows as we creating and crafting the song. Like nobody would ever think that Nip would be on some shit like that, or like, we'll be sitting and he'll be like, man, like people don't understand. Like I'm more than a rapper. Like I'm a songwriter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really like where his sentiment was with it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's deeper than just like him behind the mic rapping. Like he really thinking of it in a songwriter format.
That's dope. Rest in peace, Nip. That was my dude.
Straight
man.
up, rest in peace, Nip,
that was my dude. Shout out to Steve. As far as like the new artists, like what sort of excites you to work with one? Like, first of all, who are the new artists that you're feeling?
For sure, rest in peace, Juice. That was one of my favorite people. Just like I said, him and people like Roddy, they can knock a song out in 15, 20 minutes, and it's like great melodies. They saying great shit the whole time. So it's like just those two guys specifically is somebody that I feel like melodically they just got it. And when you got melody, you can't damn near lose, man. Like, you know.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like that with like Amy, you know, I know, shout out to Salam Remy who worked with Amy, but I always felt like I was supposed to work with Amy.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? Same thing, pen, melody, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So Roddy's dope. And obviously you see the success happening. Who do you feel like got next? With young?
I mean, I'll be paying attention, but honestly, you can't really call it, man. Like, I just enjoy shit for what it is. Like, I might listen to the most gutter Detroit rappers, like, you know, shout out Drago and all them guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, definitely, I'm paying attention to whatever. And if I enjoy it, I enjoy it. It don't matter if the shit got 1 million views or 10,000 views. Like,
yeah, I'm the same way, because to me, you can't. The success thing is almost like a popularity contest.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And some people ain't gonna win in that regard, but they might make the dope, you know, the dopest shit, and the shit that becomes popular might be like, Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you there. Shout out to Drago and those are my boys. I've been also listening to, like, you know, back into some of that Florida gutter shit too, just because, you know, I feel like the Carol City and that energy.
Word.
You know, I listen to Denzel Curry's new project.
That's hard.
Yeah, you know, I just like that real energy coming straight from, you know, from the neighborhood or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Whereas like,
no, that's why I fuck with Benny. Like, they Buffalo to the core, like him, West Side, Conway, that whole energy. Like, you feel like these guys are a staple where they from, you know what I'm saying? So
and it's so in them.
They keep it them, you know what I'm saying? And just for me being from, you know, Cali and linking with a guy like Benny, you know what I'm saying? Like, when niggas hear the beats, they like, they would have thought I was from New York and shit like that. So, you know, just keeping the essence of what people do and just put my own flair on it. Yeah,
and I think that's also a testament of your broad music base, you know what I mean?
Word.
You know, that the fact that, you know, you're from Cali, but you can even do a East Coast sounding beat, you know what I mean? Or a Detroit sounding beat, or a Bay Area sounding beat.
Yeah, that's just the love of this shit, you know?
So, in conclusion, I kind of really want to go into, like, just in terms of, like, if you were trying to get into this business now in 2020, how would you go about it as a producer? Obviously, you know what I mean? Because it's different than when we can't.
Yeah, you know? No, it definitely is. I would say just connect with people you think are better than you, connect with people that are in just a different place than you. That's what I always did. Like, you know, whether it was the first kid I linked with who had Acid Pro and FL, like, he knew how to use that shit already. He was locked into that. I felt like this guy was, you know, better than me. Then I grew into working with another guy who was like crazy on the keys and shit like that. And that's where I learned kind of that element from, like, you know, working my way around the keyboard and shit. But I always just worked with people that were more advanced than me at the time. Okay. And that definitely helps.
Okay. And then on the business side, how would you go about it? You know, because to me, you know, on every corner you find somebody making beats these days. You know,
yeah, I mean, man, like, it's no bounds to nothing no more. Like, link with artists around you, link with as many artists as you can, and just create, man. Like, don't like put yourself in any type of box. You know what I'm saying? Just like work with as many artists as you can and just put it out. Just keep working. Yeah,
that's why I feel like I learned a little bit from Young Chop and like Ronnie J and them, right? They didn't know how to get placements and that. They just worked with everybody around them that they thought was dope. You know what I mean? Chop, obviously, and Keith, and they created this whole movement. You know what I mean? And now they think about Ronnie J and XXX and all the people that came out of that, you know?
No, even looking back at like YG, Ty, and Mustard, you know what I'm saying? Watching that shit develop out of a living room, a studio set up in a living room to like the niggas is killing shit.
Yeah,
so,
niggas
you know?
worldwide stars now, you know what I mean? That does show you anything's possible. Well, last but not least, how do you, I still feel like maybe it's because, you know, at this age, getting older and having kids and teenagers and all that stuff, do you feel like, do you feel a responsibility to elevate the music or the message or anything like that?
No, for sure. Yeah. Or just, you know, do my part. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know, a lot of us, I mean, we're not really reinventing the wheel. Like, a lot of sounds, you know, have been here before, but it's just how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to push it to where it's not just, you know, the basic sounds, like just trying to just find different pockets, find different ways to make the kick hit, different ways to, you know, different placement for the snare and shit like that. Like I always just try to keep that in mind.
Definitely. You and Kendrick still gonna link up?
Man, I hope so.
Okay. Definitely. All right, well, I appreciate the time, brother.
No, I appreciate
this
you.
Was, you know what I mean? This was a blessing having you here.
No, straight up.
And, you know, shit, I want to go back and listen to this episode. You know what I mean? It was a lot of jewels you put out there for people. You know what I mean?
Sure. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the time, bro.
Post this up on the gram and all that. Yeah,
we got to, you know, get it out there because this whole thing about is just really, really to teach and inform and give people, you know, the shit you can't Google. Mm-hmm. That's my manifest right there. You know what I mean? This is the shit you can't Google. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So appreciate you being here.
100.
All right.
Appreciate it, bro.
1.